Here's something wild. You can get a serum with 5% niacinamide and multiple ceramides for around 12 bucks. Or you can pay $95 for essentially the same ingredient list from a prestige brand. The difference? Marketing budgets and zip codes. Korean beauty operates on a completely different pricing model, and once you understand it, you'll never look at Western skincare the same way. I'm Chen, and I've spent 3 years testing hundreds of K-beauty products to figure out which ones actually deliver luxury results without the luxury price tag.
You're listening to Luxury Beauty on a Budget podcast. Quick note before we dive in. Everything you're about to hear, all the research, the product testing, the ingredient breakdowns, that's written and verified by real beauty experts and authors. The voice you're hearing right now is AI generated, but the information is 100% human. Just wanted to mention that up front. Really glad you're here, especially if you've been listening for a while, and if you're new to the show, welcome. I think you'll find we take a pretty different approach to beauty content around here. New episodes drop every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so you'll have plenty to listen to. Now let's jump into Korean skincare and why the value proposition is honestly kind of wild. Welcome to your complete guide to Korean skincare on a budget. We're covering the philosophy, the science, the specific ingredients that work, and the exact products that give you glass skin without emptying your bank account. Let's start with what Korean skincare actually is. K-beauty is a skincare philosophy from South Korea that flips the Western approach on its head. Instead of correction, it prioritizes prevention. Instead of one heavy cream, it layers multiple lightweight products. And instead of treating hydration as optional, it makes it the foundation of everything. This isn't just marketing. The approach is built on cosmetic chemistry principles that Western brands are only now starting to adopt. K-beauty formulations typically pack higher concentrations of active ingredients at lower price points because the market in Korea is brutally competitive. When you've got 50 brands fighting for shelf space in Seoul's Olive Young stores, innovation and value become survival tactics. You've probably heard about the famous 10-step routine. That's honestly just marketing noise. The real Korean skincare philosophy is about understanding your specific skin needs and addressing them with targeted, well-formulated products. A basic K-beauty routine might be just 4 or 5 steps. It's about efficacy, not Instagram-worthy shelfies. Korean brands were the first to widely commercialize some genuinely interesting ingredients. Snail mucin, which contains glycoproteins and hyaluronic acid, fermented extracts with smaller molecular weights for better penetration, Centella asiatica with proven wound-healing properties. These weren't gimmicks pulled from thin air. They were backed by actual research from Korean dermatological institutes. The texture game is also completely different. K-beauty products are formulated for humid Asian climates, which means they're typically lighter, more elegant, and less likely to clog your pores than their Western equivalents. A Korean moisturizer might contain 3 to 5% ceramides, but still feel like water on your skin. Now let's talk about how Korean skincare actually works. The Korean approach functions on a layering system based on molecular size and pH levels, smallest molecules first, working up to larger occlusive ingredients that seal everything in. Here's the actual science behind it. Your stratum corneum, the outermost skin layer, has a brick and mortar structure. Skin cells are the bricks, lipids are the mortar. Korean skincare targets both components sequentially. You start with water-based products containing low molecular weight hyaluronic acid that can penetrate between the cells, then progress to lipid-rich products that reinforce the mortar. Step 1 is always about pH reset. Your skin's natural pH is around 4.5 to 5.5, but tap water is typically 7.0 or higher. Korean toners bring your pH back down, so subsequent active ingredients can work optimally. These aren't your Western astringent toners that smell like rubbing alcohol. They're hydrating, pH-adjusting liquids with ingredients like beta-glucan or sodium hyaluronate. Then comes the essence layer. This is where K-beauty diverges most dramatically from Western routines. Essences are watery serums with high concentrations of humectants, typically 40 to 60% of the formula, that flood your skin with hydration. The famous SK2 facial treatment essence contains Patera, which is a yeast ferment filtrate. Check the link below to see the current price. But you can get nearly identical fermented ingredients in products like CosRx Galactomyces 95 Tone Balancing Essence for around $18 versus SK2's price tag of around $185. Check the link below to see the current price. Active serums come next. This is where you target specific concerns with concentrated ingredients. Korean serums typically contain higher active percentages than American drugstore brands. A Korean vitamin C serum at around $25 might contain 20 to 23% ascorbic acid, while a comparable Western product at the same price point maxes out around 10 to 15%. The formulation chemistry is just more advanced. Korean labs use stabilizing systems like ferulic acid and vitamin E that Western brands reserve for their prestige lines. The moisturizer step locks everything in with a combination of humectants, emollients, and occlusives. Korean moisturizers are famous for their ceramide complexes, specifically the 1:1:1 ratio of ceramides, cholesterol, and fatty acids that mirrors your skin's natural lipid composition. Brands like Ilion and Etude House offer these sophisticated formulations for $15 to $20, while Western equivalents like CeraVe, which is genuinely excellent, have slightly simpler lipid profiles. Sunscreen is non-negotiable, and this is where Korean products are genuinely superior. Korean sunscreen technology is about 5 years ahead of FDA-approved US filters. They use modern organic filters like Tynosorb S, Uvinyl A+, and Uvinyl T150 that provide better UVA protection with zero white cast. A Korean sunscreen at around $12 outperforms most $40 American options in both texture and protection. Moving on to the ingredient philosophy. Korean formulations prioritize ingredient synergy over hero ingredient marketing. A Korean serum rarely relies on one active. It builds a supporting cast that enhances the main ingredient's efficacy. For example, a niacinamide serum might include 5% niacinamide alongside 0.5% zinc PCA, which boosts niacinamide's sebum-regulating effects, and 2% N-acetyl-glucosamine, which works synergistically with niacinamide for brightening. The concentration philosophy is also different. Where Western brands often use just above clinical threshold concentrations to make marketing claims, Korean brands often exceed clinical study percentages. If studies show 2% niacinamide is effective, a K-beauty product will contain 4 to 5. If 0.5% tranexamic acid shows results, they'll formulate with 2 to 3. The texture engineering is borderline obsessive. Korean formulators use multiple molecular weights of hyaluronic acid in single products, typically a blend of high molecular weight HA for surface hydration, medium weight for mid-layer penetration, and low weight for deep hydration. This creates the signature glass skin effect: plump, hydrated, luminous, not oily or shiny. So why does Korean skincare matter for your wallet and your face? The value equation is genuinely unprecedented in the beauty industry. You get luxury formulations at accessible prices because the Korean beauty market operates on volume and innovation rather than brand prestige markup. A Korean serum manufactured in Seoul with 5% niacinamide, multiple ceramides, and peptides retails for around $20 to $25, An equivalent formulation from a Western prestige brand costs 3 to 4 times more for functionally identical ingredient lists. I tested Solwasu First Care Activating Serum, which runs around $130 for 60 milliliters, against CosRx Advanced Snail 96 Mucin Power Essence, around $15 for 100 milliliters for 6 weeks. Check the link below to see the current price. Both contain fermented ingredients. Both improve hydration markers. Both layer beautifully under other products. The Solwasu has a more luxurious texture and slightly more elegant botanical extracts, but the performance difference doesn't justify a $115 price gap for most people's skincare goals. Korean brands democratize ingredients that Western prestige brands gatekeep. Adenosine, a proven anti-aging ingredient approved by Korea's equivalent to the FDA at 0.04% concentration, appears in $18 Korean eye creams. Western brands charge $80 or more for similar formulations. Panthenol at 5% concentration, which research from the International Journal of Cosmetic Science shows improves skin barrier function, is standard in $12 Korean toners. Most Western drugstore products max out at 1 to 2%. The sunscreen technology gap is especially critical. Chemical filters approved in Korea and the EU provide photostable, broad-spectrum protection that American FDA-approved filters simply can't match. If you care about actual UVA protection, and you should because UVA causes aging, Korean sunscreens are essential. Korean formulations are designed for diverse Asian skin types, which means they work across a wider range of concerns than products formulated primarily for Caucasian skin. The focus on hydration without heaviness makes K-beauty products particularly suitable for combination and oily skin types, who've been told they need oil-free products. They don't. They need lightweight humectants and non-comedogenic emollients. The emphasis on barrier repair and anti-inflammatory ingredients like centella, madecassoside, and licorice root extract makes Korean skincare especially effective for sensitive, reactive, or compromised skin. Let's talk about the different types and variations of Korean skincare approaches. Korean skincare isn't monolithic. There are distinct sub-philosophies that emphasize different outcomes. Glass skin prioritizes maximum luminosity through intense hydration and light-reflecting ingredients. You achieve this with multiple layers of watery essences, fermented ingredients, and products containing niacinamide at 3 to 5% for pore refinement. The finish is dewy, almost wet-looking. Think freshly washed face that never dries down completely. Honey skin aims for a slightly more matte but still glowing appearance, like light-hitting honey rather than glass. This approach uses more emollient-rich products with squalene, ceramides, and plant oils, creating a softer, more diffused glow. It's better for drier skin types and feels less high maintenance. There's also the skin fasting or minimalist K-beauty approach. This uses 3 to 4 highly effective products, a gentle cleanser, a hydrating toner, 1 targeted treatment, and sunscreen. This works well if you have resilient skin and prefer efficiency. I personally do this during summers in California when anything more than 4 layers feels suffocating. Traditional multi-step routines use 7 to 10 products to address multiple concerns simultaneously. This isn't about excess, it's about using lightweight, targeted formulations instead of one heavy product that tries to do everything. A single anti-aging moisturizer might contain 10 actives at low concentrations. A multi-step routine distributes those actives across multiple products at higher, more effective concentrations. Products manufactured in Korea, particularly Seoul and Jeju Island, tend to have the most cutting-edge formulations and strictest quality control. Look for "Made in Korea" on packaging. Korean-owned brands manufactured in China can still be excellent. Many legitimate K-beauty brands have expanded manufacturing to China for cost efficiency. The formulations are often identical, though quality control can be slightly less consistent. K-beauty-inspired Western brands are increasingly common. Brands like Good Molecules and the Inky List borrow Korean formulation principles but manufacture in North America or Europe. These are fine, but they typically use FDA-approved ingredients exclusively, which means you miss out on the more advanced filters and actives available in Korea. Now let's build your budget K-beauty routine with specific categories. I'm breaking down the essential categories with specific ingredient benchmarks you should look for, and approximately what you should pay. Starting with cleansers. Korean double cleansing uses an oil-based cleanser first to dissolve makeup and sebum, followed by a water-based cleanser to remove water-soluble impurities. This isn't overkill. It's actually gentler than using one harsh cleanser. Look for oil cleansers with lightweight emulsifiers like PEG-20 glycerol triisostearate that rinse clean without residue. Expect to pay around $12 to $18 for 200 milliliters. Brands like Kose Softimo and Heimish offer excellent options that emulsify instantly and don't leave your face feeling greasy. Water-based cleansers should be low pH, between 4.5 and 5.5, and contain gentle surfactants like sodium cocoyl isethionate instead of sodium lauryl sulfate. The $10 to $15 range gets you solid options from COSRX, Etude House, or Some by Me. Avoid anything that feels squeaky clean. That's your skin barrier being stripped. Moving to toners, Korean toners are viscous, hydrating liquids that should feel slightly slippery on your skin. Good formulations contain multiple molecular weights of hyaluronic acid. Look for sodium hyaluronate, hydrolyzed hyaluronic acid, and sodium acetylated hyaluronate in the ingredients list. The $15 to $20 sweet spot gets you toners with beta-glucan, a powerful humectant and anti-inflammatory, panthenol at 5% or higher, and glycerin at 10% or more. Apply these to damp skin and pat, don't rub, to maximize absorption. Avoid toners with alcohol high in the ingredients list. Occasional alcohol near the end of the ingredients is fine as a preservative, but if it's in the top 5 ingredients, pass. Now for essences, the heart of K-beauty hydration. This category is uniquely Korean and genuinely revolutionary. Essences are concentrated hydration delivery systems that prep your skin for serums while providing their own benefits.
Fermented essences, like CosRX Galactomyces 95 Tone Balancing Essence, usually around $18 for 100 milliliters, contain Galactomyces ferment filtrate. Check the link below to see the current price. That's a yeast byproduct rich in amino acids, vitamins, and organic acids that improve skin texture and brightness. I use this as my SK2 dupe and honestly can't tell the difference in performance. Snail mucin essences, like CosRX Advanced Snail 96 Mucin Power Essence, usually around $15 for 100 milliliters, contain 96% snail secretion filtrate. Check the link below to see the current price, which sounds disgusting, but is actually a mixture of glycoproteins, hyaluronic acid, glycolic acid, and antimicrobial peptides. The texture is slippery and viscous. It takes about 30 seconds to fully absorb, but leaves your skin feeling ridiculously plump. On to serums, your targeted active treatments. This is where you address specific concerns with concentrated actives. Korean serums typically contain 20 to 30% active ingredients, compared to 5 to 15% in many Western equivalents.
Vitamin C serums should contain 20% or more ascorbic acid or alternative stable forms like ethyl ascorbic acid at 15%. The Purito Pure Vitamin C Serum, around $18, contains 23% ascorbic acid with ferulic acid and vitamin E for stabilization. Check the link below to see the current price. That's a formula that would cost $70 to $100 from SkinCeuticals or Drump Elephant. Niacinamide serums should be 5 to 10% concentration. Clinical studies show benefits starting at 2%, but Korean brands exceed that threshold for faster results. The COSRX, the niacinamide 15 serum, is self-explanatory at around $20. Check the link below to see the current price. It's thick, so I dilute it with a few drops of toner before applying. Peptide serums typically contain multiple peptide types: copper peptides for collagen synthesis, matricil for wrinkle reduction, arginine for expression lines, at concentrations around 1 to 5% combined. Brands like eUnic and Purito offer multi-peptide serums for usually around $20 to $25. Now for moisturizers and ceramide-rich barrier support. Korean moisturizers excel at providing barrier repair without greasiness. The key is that ceramide to cholesterol to fatty acid ratio I mentioned earlier. You want all three components in roughly equal proportions. Gel creams like Etude House Sunjong 2X Barrier Intensive Cream, usually around $17 for 60 milliliters, contain 5-panthenol, madecasside, and ceramides in a lightweight gel matrix. Check the link below to see the current price. Perfect for oily combination skin. It feels like nothing but provides serious hydration. Rich creams like Iliune Ceramide ATO Concentrate Cream, usually around $15 for 200 milliliters, yes, 200 milliliters for $15, contain ceramide complexes plus shea butter and squalene. Check the link below to see the current price. This is my winter go-to and compares favorably to CeraVe Moisturizing Cream, but with a slightly more elegant texture. Look for moisturizers manufactured by Amore Pacific or LG Household and Healthcare. These are the two Korean beauty conglomerates with the most advanced research and development. Let's talk sunscreen, where K-beauty absolutely dominates. This category alone justifies adopting Korean skincare. The texture, the protection, the complete absence of white cast. American sunscreens can't compete. Korean chemical sunscreens use modern organic filters: Tinosorb S up to 10%, Uvinol A+ up to 10%, and Uvinol T150 up to 10%. These provide broad-spectrum UVA protection with SPF 50+ and feel like absolutely nothing on your skin. Beauty of Joseon Relief Sun, usually around $16 for 50 milliliters, uses grain-fermented extracts plus modern UV filters in a milky, fast-absorbing formula with zero white cast. Check the link below to see the current price. I've worn this under makeup in 95-degree California heat. It doesn't pill, doesn't feel greasy, and doesn't migrate into my eyes. Some people find that Korean sunscreens can sting sensitive eyes slightly more than mineral sunscreens due to the organic filters. If you're prone to this, look for formulas with soothing ingredients like centella or panthenol in the top 10 ingredients. For optional boosters, we have ampules and sheet masks. Ampules are super concentrated serums for intensive treatment periods. Think of them as serum squared. They typically contain 30 to 50% active ingredients and come in smaller bottles, 20 to 30 milliliters, meant to be used for 2 to 4 weeks. The One Thing Artemisia capillaris ampule, usually around $18, contains 100% Artemisia extract. Check the link below to see the current price. No fillers, no water for intense calming and barrier repair. I use this when my skin freaks out from trying too many new products. Sheet masks are less essential than Korean marketing would have you believe, but they're great for travel or self-care nights. Look for masks with essence weights of 20 to 25 milliliters. More liquid equals better value. The $1 to $2 price point is standard. Don't pay more than that unless you're buying premium specialty masks. Now let's do an ingredient deep dive into what makes K-beauty formulations different.
Starting with Centella asiatica and its derivatives. Centella asiatica, also called cica or tiger grass, is a cornerstone of K-beauty anti-inflammatory formulations. The whole plant extract is good, but Korean labs isolated 4 key compounds: asiaticacide, madecassoside, asiatic acid, and madecassic acid, collectively called TECA. These compounds stimulate type 1 collagen synthesis and inhibit inflammation at the molecular level. Studies from Korean dermatology journals show 0.1% madecassoside reduces redness and accelerates barrier recovery. You'll see these ingredients in Soonjong or cica product lines. Brands like Etude House, Dr. Jart Plus, and Purito specialize in these formulations. The texture is typically lightweight and fast-absorbing because centella derivatives are water-soluble. Products containing these feel cooling on application and sink in within 20 to 30 seconds. Let's talk fermented ingredients and how smaller molecules mean deeper penetration. Fermentation breaks down ingredient molecules into smaller fragments that penetrate more effectively. Korean cosmetic chemistry has been studying fermented extracts since the 1990s. This isn't a trend, it's established science. Galactomyces ferment filtrate, the SK2 ingredient, contains amino acids, organic acids, vitamins, and minerals produced during yeast fermentation. The molecular weight is significantly lower than the original compounds, so they penetrate past the stratum corneum into the upper epidermis. Saccharomyces ferment, a different yeast strain, appears in products focused on brightening. It contains natural AHAs and niacinamide byproducts that even out skin tone. Bifida ferment lysate, a probiotic derivative, strengthens skin's natural microbiome and improves barrier function. Estee Lauder's Advanced Night Repair features this ingredient prominently and charges around $100 for 50 milliliters. Korean brands like Monyo Factory offer similar concentrations for usually around $20 to $25. The consistency of fermented essences is distinctive, slightly viscous but not sticky, with a faintly sweet or savory scent. That's the fermentation byproducts, not added fragrance. Now, ginseng and red ginseng extracts. Panax ginseng, Asian ginseng, contains ginsenosides, which are saponin compounds with proven antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. Red ginseng is regular ginseng that's been steamed and dried, which increases ginsenoside concentration. Korean studies show 1 to 2% ginseng extract improves facial wrinkles and elasticity over 24 weeks of use. Brands like Solwastu, The History of Who, and Beauty of Joseon feature ginseng prominently. The luxury brands charge $80 to $200 for ginseng products. Beauty of Joseon offers comparable formulations for usually around $15 to $25.
Ginseng products have a distinctive herbal scent. Earthy, slightly sweet, somewhat medicinal. If you hate that, you'll hate ginseng products. I personally love it because it feels like I'm doing something serious to my face. Moving to propolis and royal jelly, bee-derived bioactives. Propolis is a resin mixture that bees create from plant materials, beeswax, and their own secretions. It contains flavonoids, phenolic acids, and aromatic compounds with antibacterial and anti-inflammatory properties. Korean formulations typically use 70 to 90% propolis extract in serums and ampules. The texture is honey-like, obviously,
thick, sticky, and intensely moisturizing. CosRx Propolis Light Ampule, usually around $22 for 83.25% propolis extract, and feels like liquid gold on your skin. Check the link below to see the current price. It's sticky for about 45 seconds, then becomes incredibly plump and smooth. Royal jelly, bee larva food, contains proteins, lipids, vitamins, and the fatty acid 10-HDA, which has antimicrobial properties. It's less common than propolis, but appears in anti-aging products. The texture is similar but slightly lighter. Some people are allergic to bee products. Patch test these if you have pollen or bee sting allergies. Let's talk about rice extract and fermented rice water. Oryza sativa rice extract contains amino acids, minerals, vitamins, and ferulic acid, an antioxidant particularly effective against UV damage. Rice water has been used in Korean and Japanese beauty rituals for centuries. Modern K-beauty extracts and ferment it for higher bioactive concentrations. Brands like I'm From and Haru Haru Wonder specialize in rice-based products. The I'm From rice toner, usually around $24 for 150 milliliters, 1 ounce, which equals around $16 per ounce. It contains 77.78% rice extract and feels like liquid gold on your skin. Check the link below to see the current price. It's sticky for about 45 seconds, then becomes incredibly plump and smooth. Royal jelly, bee larva food, contains proteins, lipids, vitamins, and the fatty acid 10-HDA, which has antimicrobial properties. It's less common than propolis, but appears in anti-aging products. The texture is similar but slightly lighter. Some people are allergic to bee products. Patch test these if you have pollen or bee sting allergies. Let's talk about rice extract and fermented rice water. Oryza sativa rice extract contains amino acids, minerals, vitamins, and ferulic acid, an antioxidant particularly effective against UV damage. Rice water has been used in Korean and Japanese beauty rituals for centuries. Modern K-beauty extracts and ferment it for higher bioactive concentrations. Brands like I'm From and Haru Haru Wonder specialize in rice-based products. The I'm From rice toner, usually around $24 for 150 milliliters, 1 ounce, which equals around $16 per ounce. It contains 77.78% rice extract and feels like liquid gold on your skin. Check the link below to see the current price. Like you're applying diluted milk to your face. It brightens and softens texture over 4 to 6 weeks of consistent use. The scent is subtle, slightly sweet and grainy, not at all artificial. Now let's look at the price per ounce comparison between K-beauty and Western equivalents. Let me show you the actual math on why Korean skincare is objectively better value. Starting with the vitamin C serum breakdown, SkinCeuticals CE Ferulic runs around $169 for 30 milliliters, 1 ounce, which equals around $169 per ounce. It contains 15% L-ascorbic acid, 1% vitamin E, 0.5% ferulic acid, manufactured in USA. Purito Pure Vitamin C Serum costs around $18 for 60 milliliters, 2 ounces, which equals around $9 per ounce. It contains 23% L-ascorbic acid, vitamin E, ferulic acid, manufactured in Korea. The Purito contains a higher concentration of the primary active and costs 94.7% less per ounce. The SkinCeuticals has a more elegant texture, less sticky, and slightly more sophisticated stabilization chemistry, but the performance gap doesn't justify an 18 times price difference. I've used both continuously for months. The Purito oxidizes slightly faster. It turns yellow after about 4 months versus 6 months for SkinCeuticals. But at this price, you can buy 3 bottles of Purito for less than 1 SkinCeuticals and just replace it more frequently. The Ceramide Moisturizer Face-Off. CeraVe Moisturizing Cream costs around $18 for 453 grams, 16 ounces, which equals around $1.13 per ounce. It contains ceramides 1, 3, and 6.2, hyaluronic acid, niacinamide, manufactured in USA. Iliune Ceramide A-Toe Concentrate Cream costs around $15 for 200 milliliters, 6.76 ounces, which equals around $2.22 per ounce. It contains ceramide complex, panthenol, shea butter, manufactured in Korea. Wait, the CeraVe is actually cheaper? Yes, CeraVe is genuinely excellent value, which is why I keep recommending it. But the Iliune has a notably more elegant texture, less heavy, absorbs faster, leaves a softer finish. The CeraVe can feel slightly greasy on combination skin. The Iliune never does. If you're on a strict budget and have very dry skin, CeraVe wins. If you want a more pleasant experience and have $3 to spare, Iliune wins. Both are dramatically better value than prestige moisturizers that charge $60 to $80 for 50 milliliters. The Niacinamide Serum Reality Check. Paula's Choice 10% Niacinamide Booster costs around $52 for 20 milliliters, 0.67 ounces, which equals around $77.61 per ounce. It contains 10% niacinamide, glucosamine, acetylglucosamine, manufactured in USA. Some By Me Yuja Niacin Brightening Moisture Gel Cream costs around $18 for 60 milliliters, 2 ounces, which equals around $9 per ounce. It contains 5% niacinamide, 70% Yuja or citrus extract, glutathione, manufactured in Korea. The Paula's Choice has double the niacinamide concentration, but clinical studies show benefits plateau around 5%. Going to 10 doesn't double the results. The Some By Me costs 89.4% less per ounce and includes additional brightening actives. Paula's Choice wins on niacinamide percentage. Some By Me wins on overall value and synergistic ingredients. Let's address some frequently asked questions. What is the correct order to apply Korean skincare products? The correct order is oil cleanser, water-based cleanser, exfoliator 2 to 3 times per week, toner, essence, serum, eye cream, moisturizer, and sunscreen in the morning only. Apply products from thinnest to thickest consistency, allowing 30 to 60 seconds between each layer for absorption. This sequence is based on molecular size and pH optimization. Lighter, more acidic products penetrate better when applied to freshly cleansed skin, while heavier occlusives seal everything in at the end. Can Korean skincare work for sensitive skin? Yes, Korean skincare often works better for sensitive skin because K-beauty formulations prioritize gentle, low pH products with anti-inflammatory ingredients like Centella asiatica, metacasicide, and panthenol at concentrations of 3 to 5%. Many Korean brands specifically formulate for sensitive skin. Look for lines with Sunjung, Sika, or barrier in the name. They avoid common irritants like essential oils, drying alcohols, and harsh surfactants. Start with minimal steps: cleanser, toner, moisturizer, sunscreen. Then add actives slowly while monitoring your skin's response. How long does it take to see results from Korean skincare? Most people see initial hydration improvements within 3 to 7 days, noticeable texture refinement within 2 to 4 weeks, and significant changes in concerns like hyperpigmentation or fine lines within 8 to 12 weeks. The timeline depends on which actives you're using. Niacinamide and hyaluronic acid work relatively quickly for hydration and brightness, while vitamin C and peptides require 6 to 8 weeks for collagen synthesis effects. Consistency matters more than the number of products. Using a simple routine daily produces better results than elaborate routines applied inconsistently.
What's the difference between Korean and Japanese skincare? Korean skincare emphasizes multiple thin layers of hydration with innovative active ingredients like snail mucin, fermented extracts, and Centella asiatica, while Japanese skincare focuses on simplified routines with gentle formulations, emphasizing rice extracts, camellia oil, and traditional ingredients like sake and green tea. Korean products tend to have more actives at higher concentrations. 5 to 10% niacinamide is common. Japanese formulations prioritize gentleness and minimal ingredients. Both approaches value hydration and sun protection, but differ in philosophy. Korean beauty is about transformation. Japanese beauty is about maintenance.
Are expensive Korean skincare brands worth it compared to affordable ones? Expensive Korean skincare brands like Solwasu, The History of Who, and Amore Pacific offer more luxurious textures, sophisticated fragrances, and occasionally rare botanical extracts, but the functional ingredient profiles are often nearly identical to affordable K-beauty brands at 1/5 the price. The expensive brands invest heavily in packaging, marketing, and prestige positioning rather than dramatically superior formulations. Unless you specifically value the sensory experience and luxury packaging, affordable Korean brands like COSRX, Some by Me, Purito, and Beauty of Joseon provide equivalent or superior active ingredient concentrations at $15 to $25 per product versus $50 to $200 for luxury equivalents. Your next steps for building your K-beauty routine. Start with the basics. You don't need 10 products on day one. Get a low pH cleanser, usually around $12 to $15, a hydrating toner, around $15 to $20, a simple moisturizer with ceramides, around $15 to $20, and a Korean sunscreen, around $12 to $16. That's your foundation, totaling around $55 to $70 for a complete basic routine that will last you 3 to 4 months. Once your skin adjusts after 2 to 3 weeks, add one active serum targeting your primary concern: niacinamide for pore size and oil control, vitamin C for brightening, or peptides for anti-aging, usually around $18 to $25. Give each new product 2 weeks minimum before adding the next one so you can identify any reactions. The Korean skincare approach isn't about buying everything at once. It's about understanding your skin, choosing targeted products with proven ingredients, and building a routine that actually works for your life and your budget. You're not trying to replicate someone's Instagram shelfie. You're solving specific skin concerns with products that deliver measurable results without requiring a small loan.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Luxury Beauty on a Budget podcast. New episodes come out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so you'll never run out of practical beauty advice that won't drain your bank account. If you found this episode useful, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a 5-star rating and write a quick review. It genuinely makes a difference, because that's how other people who are looking for honest, budget-friendly beauty information actually find the show. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe or follow so you get notified the second a new episode drops. I'll see you in the next one.